Danielle and Melissa here. Welcome to episode 2 of ACL times 2, the twin journey. Today we're going to speak about the MRI scans that we had shortly after we injured our knees, and then we'll also go on and discuss sort of what was spoken about during our first appointments with the orthopedic surgeon. So given Melissa's injury was the most common type pivot shift one, I think we can get you to start us off.
All right. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for that common labeling again. But yes, mine was the indirect injury, which is 70%, as we've mentioned before, of all ACL ruptures. So what that meant is when I had my MRI, I guess from an imaging point of view, it's often the messy type of rupture. So it can look like a bit of an explosion there. It's hard to actually, you can't actually work out where the ACL is. Often with indirect, such as myself, it's, you've also got the meniscal component. So mine was torn on both sides, and then you have the bone bruising as well. So it all looks a bit messy, which I guess then leads on to my first
Very messy.
The orthopedic which confirmed it was an unstable knee. And so then the next question was, what's your intention? Do you want to get back to soccer in particular, but sport? And that was a no-brainer answer of absolutely.
Of course.
Yep, as soon as possible. I want to get back to soccer. And then obviously I love golf, tennis, sport in general. So I think given that it was an unstable knee, the way the scan looked and whatever, I feel like for me, even though I wasn't pressured into going down the surgical path, that was the only option that I was prepared to take. So so that was where I got to. And I know yours being direct in quite a different appearance is obviously led you down a different path. So let us hear it.
Yeah. So unlike the appearance of your knee on the MRI, mine looked very different. Mine was, you could actually see the top and the bottom of the ACL, and there was a gap in between. So obviously where I had caught that direct blow, it sort of just sort of snapped the ACL, and there was a gap in between the top and bottom, and because of that, there was minimal fluid in the knee. There was both the meniscus were intact. So really, it was actually, as a
neat injury,
ruptured ACL goes, it was neat. It was as good as you really want it. And when I saw the orthopedic surgeon a week after the injury, he was very impressed at how stable it was. Everything looked good. He's all of that sort of was, I suppose, for him, sort of had him thinking that I'd be a good candidate for conservative treatment. He did say that based on, if I was in my 20s, that he would have recommended surgery. So that did hurt a bit, because I thought, I thought I always had the athleticism of a 20-year-old, but he didn't agree. And so basically he thought that and he did ask me obviously what my intentions were with sport, and I was a little bit traumatized, I think, from having had what I'd done to my knee in my comeback season of soccer. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to return to it. So I did tell him that I wanted the option of returning to soccer and tennis as well, obviously. But yeah, I hadn't decided whether I would yet or not. And yeah, so basically he thought that based on appearances, stability, my age, that he said, look, I think if we go conservative, I think that over time what should happen is scar tissue is going to sort of reconnect that area, the gap in the ACL, and he was confident that it would be strong enough to hold up to me returning to those sports. But really, until you go through the rehab process and you put it to the test at the end, it's you can't say for certain. And he said, look, and if it's not good enough, well, then we can consider surgery. So I'm really hoping that that's not going to be required, but time will tell.
He's also given you an excuse, really, because if it doesn't come back as good as you think it should, I mean, obviously we're mildly competitive. So, when we play and I normally beat you, this time you can say, oh, obviously the ACL is not what it was. And so, so that's probably not a bad thing, right?
I have never had to use excuses in the past. None required when you always win. But anyway, yeah, I don't think that's going to be necessary, but nice try.
Yeah, non-competitive. But anyway, from there, I think the next thing we should probably discuss is our rehab. So I think that's been a lot more extensive than, certainly I realised with the whole ACL comeback. Absolutely. So, and you've pretty much 18 months down, you've done a lot of that, and you're at the end and I'm at the start. So I think obviously there's a lot of challenges involved with rehab and physio and all the rest of it. So I think that's something worth discussing in our next episode. So I think that we can leave it here and chat soon about that.
Absolutely. We look forward to speaking to you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.